Good morning. Here we are in week 2, day 1. We've got Mark chapter 6. Relevant. Let's start with 2 verses. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 35. Revenge is mine, and I will repay them in due time, that their foot may slide. The day of destruction is at hand, and the time makes haste to come. And then we're going to also read Romans chapter 12, verse 19. Revenge not yourselves, my dearly beloved, but give place unto wrath, for it is written, Revenge is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. Okay, this week I'm offering these readings for everybody that's currently on death row. Lord, protect them and lead them to life. Additionally, add your offerings and your needs. May the Lord heal us and align our wills to His. Okay, let's start with our inventory. Again, Psalm 99. Sing joyfully to God, all the earth. Serve ye the Lord with gladness. Come in before His presence with exceeding great joy. Know ye that the Lord is God. He made us, and not we ourselves. We are His people, and the sheep of His pasture. Go ye into the gates with praise, into His courts with hymns, and give glory to Him. Praise ye His name, for the Lord is sweet. His mercy endureth forever, and His truth to generation and generation. The Gospel of St. Mark, chapter 6. Christ teaches at Nazareth. He sends forth the 12 apostles. He feeds 5,000 with 5 loaves, and walks upon the sea. And going out from thence, he went into his own country, and his disciples followed him. And when the Sabbath was come, he began to teach in the synagogue. And many hearing him were in admiration at his doctrine, saying, How can this man by all these things? And what wisdom is this that is given to him, and such mighty works as are wrought by his hands? Is not this a carpenter, the son of Mary, the brother of James and Joseph and Jude and Simon? Are not also his sisters here with us? And they were scandalized in regard of him. And Jesus said to them, A prophet is not without honor, but in his own country, and in his own house, and among his own kindred. And he could not do any miracles there, only that he cured a few that were sick, laying his hands upon them. And he wondered because of their unbelief. And he went through the villages round about teaching. And he called to the 12, and began to send them 2 by 2, and gave them power over unclean spirits. And he commanded them that they should take nothing for their way, but a staff only, no scrip, no bread, no money in their purse, but to be shod with sandals, and they should not put on 2 coats. And he said to them, Wheresoever you shall enter into an house, there abide till you depart from that place. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear you, going forth from thence, shake off the dust from your feet for a testimony to them. And going forth, they preached that men should do repentance. And they cast out many devils, and anointed with oil many that were sick, and healed them. And King Herod heard, for his name was made manifest, and he said, John the Baptist is risen again from the dead, and therefore mighty works shew forth themselves in him. And others said, It is Elias. But others said, It is a prophet, as one of the prophets. Which Herod, hearing, said, John, whom I beheaded, he is risen again from the dead. For Herod himself had sent and apprehended John, and bound him in prison for the sake of Herodias, the wife of Philip, his brother, because he had married her. For John said to Herod, It is not lawful for thee to have thy brother's wife. Now Herodias laid snares for him, and was desirous to put him to death, and could not. For Herod feared John, knowing him to be just and holy man, and keeping him. And when he heard him, did many things, and he heard him willingly. And when a convenient day was come, Herod made a supper for his birthday, for the princes, and tribunes, and chief men of Galilee. And when the daughter of the same Herodias had come in, and had danced, and pleased Herod, and them that were at the table with him, the king said to the damsel, Ask of me what thou wilt, and I will give it to thee. And he swore to her, Whatsoever thou shalt ask, I will give thee, though it be the half of my kingdom. Who, when she was gone out, said to her mother, What shall I ask? But she said, The head of John the Baptist. And when she was come in immediately with haste to the king, she asked, saying, I will that forthwith that thou shalt give me in a dish the head of John the Baptist. And the king was struck sad. Yet because of his oath, and because of them that were with him at the table, he would not displease her. But sending an executioner, he commanded that the head should be brought in a dish. And he beheaded him in prison, and brought the head in a dish, and gave it to the damsel. And the damsel gave it to her mother, which his disciples hearing came, and took his body and laid it in a tomb. And the apostles, coming together unto Jesus, related to him all things that they had done and taught. And he said to them, Come apart into a desert place, and rest for a little. For there were many coming and going, and they had not so much time to eat. And going up into the ship, they went into a desert place apart. And they saw them going away, and many knew, and they ran flocking thither on foot, and all the cities, and were there before them. And Jesus, going out, saw a great multitude, and he had compassion on them, because they were as sheep, not having a shepherd, and he began to teach them many things. And then the day was now far spent. His disciples came to him, saying, This is a desert place, and the hour is now past. Send them away, that going into the next villages and towns, they may buy themselves meat to eat. And he answering said to them, Give you them to eat. And they said to him, Let us go and buy bread for 200 pence, and we will give them to eat. And he saith to them, How many loaves have you? Go and see. And when they knew, they say, 5 and 2 fishes. And he commanded them that they should make them all sit down by the companies upon the green grass. And they sat down in ranks by hundreds and by 50s. And when he had taken the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, looking up to heaven, he blessed and broke the loaves, and gave to his disciples to set before them. And the 2 fishes he divided among them all. And they all did eat, and had their fill. And they took up their leavings, 12 full baskets of fragments, and of the fishes. And they did eat, and were 5,000 men. And immediately he obliged his disciples to go up into the ship, and they might go before him over the water to Bethsaida, whilst he dismissed the people. And when he had dismissed them, he went up to the mountain to pray. And when it was late, the ship was in the midst of the sea, and himself alone on the land. And seeing them laboring and rowing, for the wind was against them, and about the 4th watch of the night, he cometh to them walking upon the sea, and he would have passed by them. But they, seeing him walking upon the sea, thought it was an apparition, and they cried out. And they all saw him and were troubled. And immediately he spoke with them and said to them, Have a good heart, for it is I. Fear ye not. And he went up to them into the ship, and the wind ceased. And they were far more astounded with themselves, for they understood not concerning the loaves, for their heart was blinded. And when they had passed over, they came unto the land of Gennesaret, and set to the shore. And when they were gone out of the ship, immediately they knew him. And running through that whole country, they began to carry about in beds those who were sick, and where they heard he was. And whithersoever he entered, into the towns, or into the villages or cities, they laid the sick in the streets, and besought him that they might touch but the hem of his garment, and as many as touched him were made whole. This is the word of the Lord. There we go. It is I. Fear ye not. Have a good heart. One thing I noticed today that I'm going to write in my journal, in addition to fear ye not, is that the disciples were not amazed as much by the bread as they were the walking on the sea. For the reproduction of the bread is similar to what Elisha did for the widow, right? Whenever she had no money, and he multiplied her olive oil, right? But the walking on a sea, right? The closest thing would be Jonah, who drowned. And it required God through a fish to rescue him. But here is Jesus, who has control over the sea, showing he is God. Have a blessed day.